Hello there. Welcome to EverPals.
Good morning. Good
Morning, Brogan.
morning. Welcome to Everpels.
How you doing this morning?
Well, I've only been up for a little bit, but
Me
no
too.
complaints so far.
Yeah, we talked about recording another episode. Um, so I just shot you a text early this morning, gave you a good morning Vietnam, see if you were awake, and I got a reply.
I blame Doodle for wanting more content, so I
I think
felt
Doodle
I
and
felt
Surge are really
obligated.
driving the content right now.
I felt obligated. Definitely, kind of doing another episode this weekend. So
Hey, it's a lot of fun too. I think we have fun talking about this stuff and getting it out there. And love to hear some feedback. EverPalsThornblade@gmail.com. Hit us up on Discord.
yeah, and shout out to Doodle real quick. 75 wizard in our guild, Pels. Um, said that he was loving all our episodes, so this one's for you there, Doodle.
Yo, Doodle. So today's episode, we're going to kind of talk about it's not expansion, it's just classic EverQuest. So EverQuest without any expansions. And that's where we are currently on the Thornblade Mischief TLPs, right?
Yeah, the three continents, Fadeware, Antonica, and Otis. Those are the only three that existed at launch in 1999, right?
That's right. Even so, like there were mini releases. I don't remember this when it actually first released. I know you were there on the Mangler TLP and I think another TLP, right? But I think you experienced this on Mangler where certain raid zones were opened later in time.
I think they did that on the P99 Green. For Mangler, though, I think everything's opened up for Classic. If it's part of Classic, it's opened up for Classic.
Oh,
And if
so
it's part
like
of Kunark,
hate
it's
and
opened up
everything's
for
open
Kunark.
now?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen any Inuruk kills. I've seen Kazakh Thule. I haven't seen Aya Vishan. Maybe it's just really hard. I don't know.
Yeah, those mobs are pretty tough. Interoc has gravity flux and they hit like really hard and
Right.
none of the right now defensive and evasive and stuff for the tanks aren't
Does
even out
not
yet,
exist.
so no.
Yeah, so classic EverQuest, not a lot to do, but there is a lot to do. I mean, I know there's not like a lot of options, but there is a lot to do. A lot of leveling because it's the biggest leveling gap that you're ever going to have, 1 to 50. So it's going to be a long time spent leveling for some people. Us, we just got level 12 last night. We were in Fallen.
13.
Oh, 13. Right. Okay. Did we get 13? Wow. We're moving up.
Yeah.
But there's also you have to get all your gear because you start off with nothing. Whereas in future expansions, you want to upgrade things, but you already have a base set of items that you've obtained. So I think in Classic EverQuest, you have to somewhat work the hardest to kind of get geared up.
I am not a fan. I did this grind once and I remember like a late night, like trying to get level 50 at where was I? The Jeb's camp in Solby.
Right.
And they're 3D
That's a
Lord,
tough
and
camp.
I was like, well, I think we were handling it pretty well,
That's
but
good.
I just remember it was giving me flashbacks to old EverQuest where the bar was barely moving, and I was
Right.
just, oh
There,
man, I can't wait for 50 to be over.
yeah, there
But
is a
then,
distinction with these CLPs. They do give you a little boost in experience gain. This is, the Mischief Thornblade servers are based off of the Mangler experience table, which isn't quite what live is, but if you play on P99, you know what a true grind is. It's going to take a really long time to get those levels.
yeah, I'm uninterested in doing it just the way it was originally. I'm
Right.
glad all the increase of XP is there. Plus, you can click an XP pot now, which is
Exactly.
a nice little benefit, but maybe I'm a little bit greedy. I don't like clicking them all the time. So
Yeah, we haven't done that yet. I think we're enjoying the leveling experience, checking out new zones, feeling
I
out
had
what we can handle.
I know the experience was slow yesterday, but I was really having a blast at the bandit camp. just kind
It
of
was
like
a
sitting
steady
out in
pull.
East
Right.
Commons and just chilling and having a good time.
We can go back there for sure. I mean, it's a very relaxing camp. Also, we were getting some bronze weapons that sell for like anywhere from 2 to 4 plat each. We desperately need platinum. We're not ready to cash in the chrono yet.
No, 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 no. If I'm cashing in Chrono, I'm cashing it in for like a mask or something,
Yeah,
like we talked about last night.
right. Yeah, I think, the market is eventually going to be flooded, and I'm thinking loot for everyone, but we'll see what comes out to be like.
Yeah, I think the only really well, this is kind of a good lead into the loot and stuff that is really good for Classic.
Yeah,
And we were talking about cashing in chronos just a second ago, and I said if I was going to cash in a chrono, I'd only be cashing it in for the Guise of the Deceiver from the Ghoul Assassin in Lower Guck.
right. Because yeah, that is something
Just
that you'll
because,
always use. You'll always have that
ex-
dark elf illusion. It's not going to go
mhm.
away. Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people, um, they're they don't understand that you could go through most of Kunark and Classic, maybe even into Felius a little bit, depending on your class. You can be buck ass naked, not even have an issue. Nobody would even know. Nobody would complain.
yeah,
There's
but
not. Go
right.
ahead.
I bet that's true with like casters, especially like, wizards, mages, necromancers, that kind of stuff, where all you have to worry about is your mana pool. You don't have to worry about AC or hit points so much. I mean, there's AEs and raids and stuff, but if you're just grouping, then you just get a few mana items, and even so, you can meditate and maintain your DPS.
Yeah, shamans and enchanters, they get aggro when they mess, they get aggro when they charm
Hmm.
or slow, and they have to worry about having a little bit of AC because obviously they're going to go down really fast. And I'm sure you'll see that when we go to the hole. Uh, enchanters like to charm mobs down there, and when the spike golems and stuff stop swinging, or
Right,
what are they, the Muddites or whatever they are,
right,
man,
right for
they
that chanter, and
they hit hard
gone.
too. So, but besides that though, yeah, the guys is one of those items that you're just going to use that I use today all the way in TSS. So
Yeah,
that'd be something that's worth a chrono.
yeah, but it might also be fun. It'd be interesting to see how common that drop is. If there's, we can talk about this in a minute too. How many mobs there are, like rare mobs there are around that level that have a chance to drop that item.
Well, let's look.
Yeah, we're going to tab
We have a
over
nice little list here.
to our list of EverQuest names. And who is this given to us by?
Bobby
Yeah,
Bick, one
Bobby
of the
Bick.
YouTubers.
Yeah, let's give a shout out to him for this
Yeah, go ahead and
spreadsheet.
find Bobby Bick on YouTube, guys. He's a EverQuest YouTuber. A lot of great content there.
Yeah, and a link to this spreadsheet is posted on our Discord in the general chat. Um, I think I'll have it up there. Try to make it pinned because it's not only good for Classic, but it also had stat for Kunark, Velius, Lucklin. How far does it go? Planes of Power. Wow, a lot of work went
I
into
think,
this.
yeah, I think the future expansions need a little bit of work, but
Oh, they're a little empty.
nothing crazy.
Okay.
But so the Ghoul Assassin's level 34 in Lower Gok,
Wow, look at all those
and
mobs in Lower Guk. There's so many around 34 to 35 and 33.
yeah, Cavalier, Supplier, Ghoul Sage, and then the Minotaur Patriarch, the Ghoul Ritualist, the Elder.
Yeah, Mistmore's also looks like a nice place. Castle Mistmore. There's some in like the low 30s, and I think the level range is what 3 or 5 levels.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I think we've yet to figure it out
right. I think
for sure.
I would
But
say 3 levels for sure, possibly 5, because I've only had one experience at getting something, and I was looking it up. Give me a second.
are you
Yeah, it
talking
was the
about when
Fine
we
Silk
killed
Turban.
Rahotep?
Well, it was a fine silk turban, which is level 20 from Hatar and South Row, but we killed the Froglock Squire, which is level 17. So that's 3 levels. So it's at least 3 levels, and that's from personal experience.
Um, Lower Guck, I think is the place to go. The Zem is good. The loot, there's a ton of camps to go to.
Right?
Mistmore, I don't know when the last time you were in Mistmore was, but I feel like the mobs hit a little bit harder there.
They do. Yeah, especially once you
And
start getting into the crypt or castle, whatever you want to call
yeah, the castle.
it. Hmm.
And then, you start getting, I think the aggro radius is pretty tight too, so it's easy to get a bunch of ads.
Yeah, I
I
did
would
group and miss more a little
prefer
bit.
lower Guck.
I did group and miss more a little bit in on Mangler with my rogue, and I remember the person would come back with 6, 7 mobs, and it would be just like this clusterfuck, and we try to figure out what's happening, and we ended up being okay with it because we had a nice enchanter in that group. I remember that, but it can be pretty crazy. We don't have that CC, we don't have an enchanter. I mean, I guess if we went there, we could always group up with somebody and get that missing pieces to our group that we might need for something like that.
For sure. Hey, let me ask you a question.
What's up?
Do you remember the camps in Lower Guck? Do you know what they're
Not at
all
all.
called?
Well, I know there's. I mean, I never really grouped in Lower Guck because my only experience with Classic was on Povar, and getting around as a warrior was a pain in the ass. So I stayed in very specific places and just stayed there and just grinded them out until I got every bit of experience I could out of an area. But I know
So,
there's the Assassin Supplier, there's the
ass
Ghoul
up,
Lord, something about a frenzy.
frenzied. Yep.
Okay, I could cheat and look at the list of named, but I'm not going to do that. I think that's
My
about it.
favorite camp, my favorite camp there is strictly because of its name, and they call it Hamlord.
Hamlord. I thought it'd be like ass up.
But ass up is funny.
Yeah, I thought
Okay,
you would
that's
like the ass up.
I do like that one. That's because
Okay,
that's where
the
the
guy's the
guys of the
deceiver.
deceiver,
Right.
and you also get the for the rogue, you can get serrated bone dirk there.
Mm.
But no, the Hamlord, and I was always like, what is it? Is it a pig like king back there? I thought this was all.
Yeah, I guess I never really
Oh,
thought about like how the term Hamlord came about. So, do you know?
so yeah,
Okay.
Hamlord is you fight the hand. Um, then AM is the Archmagus, and you have
Wow.
Ghoulord. So you
Wow.
have hand, Archmagus, and Ghoulord, and you have Hamlord.
Wow. That just like went totally over my head for what, 20, 22 years.
I hey, I wanted to bring something, quality to the podcast today.
Am I the only person in EverQuest that didn't know that? I'm sure there's others that know that, but
I'm sure
thank you for
there's
letting me
plenty of
know.
them.
Now the
Yeah,
secret's out, everybody. But you know, these names for camps and different names, because it was Hamlord on Povar. I wonder how these traditions kind of started of like calling camps by certain names and everything. That could be a fun little discussion at some point.
well, it was funny because I was reading in chat the other day. Somebody was like, want to buy e-boots,
E
and then
boots,
yeah, and I was like, e-boots.
no J boots,
And that's what somebody had asked. Hey,
right? Are
do
those
you
J
mean
boots?
J boots? And he was like, no, e-boots, e-freedy
Freedom
boots.
boots? Well, those are
And
GEBs.
those are Gebs,
Yeah,
yeah.
those are Gebs.
Those are GEBs. And so uh, everybody was like, well, on what server were you on where they're called e-boots? Because every server I've ever been on,
Right.
they're Jebs.
Hmm.
And it started getting me thinking,
Wow.
like, you have different camp names on different, because we were talking about going to South Carolina, and you and I both know the Aviax is KFC,
KFC.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
KFC.
But
Oh,
I'm sure they were just Aviax on some or whatever birds. I don't know.
yeah, it's like different dialects based on what server you originated from. That's really interesting. I think that would be fun. Once we get some, guests on the show, we can have, get their take. Ask them a couple questions about like certain items or certain zones or camps, and see what they say for them.
Yeah,
Learn their
reminisce
dialect.
for sure.
That'd be fun. So
So I know you wanted to talk about loot
yeah, I
a
think
little
just
bit.
talking about like what you should be looking for, like what's worth it, I guess, if you really want to camp something. Like you said, some classes can get away with not really getting many upgrades, and just if you want to focus on leveling, go to like the best way to get your levels. But some people like to get items, and it might be helpful just to kind of know what direction to go in. It's going to be really difficult because some classes can't use some of the things we're talking about, so we'll kind of be a little broad and include like caster gear or healer gear, tank gear, that kind of stuff. But these, and we kind of talked about a little bit this morning. These would be like, if you were to get something, these would be the things you would want to get, right?
Yeah, and maybe I can be a little bit of help since I mean it was only 2 years ago since I went through classic, but
Right.
in like 20 for you. But
Yeah, it's been a while.
I'll do my best. If I forget anything,
But also
I'm
being
sorry.
on Mischief Thornblade changes a lot because now you can trade those no drop items. You can trade those plain of sky stuff that was quested, and the person, maybe now Kunark's out and they're replacing it. Now, how worthwhile is something like that? But that gets really, really complicated. It gets hard to talk about.
Very complicated.
Hmm. But go ahead. Like, what's your? And I don't know if we need to start with number one, if they didn't mean in order or anything, but what would, off the top of your head, like, what's the one thing to be like, oh, if you're gonna get an item in classic, this should be the one you get.
The first thing that came in my head earlier was the bar drums from Nagafin. I know it's not group content,
Right.
but it increases the silos for them.
Right.
And I think like just trying to remember in classic when I was on Mangler, so many people wanted that. Like it was just the thing that everybody wanted,
You have to get a bard on
especially.
here and see like how long they use that item. Is it one of those like items of longevity where they're going to have it for, through Kunark into Velius or something like that?
I think they almost definitely use it up through Velius,
Because
maybe
their
even longer.
epic doesn't include percussion, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I
So,
think
yeah.
I've never
We'll have
played
to
on
ask them.
Bard.
We'll get a bard on here with a little more expertise, but I'm pretty sure it's just like singing and stringed and winded instruments, but it doesn't include drums. But
Yeah,
we'll
you
find
may
out.
be right. You may be right. Another item that is really good is the FBSS,
Yep.
but can also be replaced by RBB, right?
Yeah, because FBSS has no stats other than 21% haste or 22%. I can't remember which one it is off the top of my head. It's around there. And RBB gives some AC and some stats. I can't remember if it gives hit points, but it's like 31% or 36% haste.
RBB can drop by Vox, right?
Or
And then
Vox or Nagy.
also
No, not Nagy.
you had
No, I thought maybe Vox and Nagy, but I think I'm wrong.
I think just Vox.
Okay. Yep.
But Nagy drops the um, Cloak of Flames.
Well, on Mischief and Mangler, they both could drop it.
That's true. Mischief and Thornblade,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Thornblade, what did I say? Sorry, you missed Mischief
Mangler.
and Thornblade. Now, Mangler drops what it drops. Wow, so many good
We
things
got
about dragons.
I know. Um so RBB, but also something that some people don't know is you can get an RB is it RBB or RBG from the Dark Elves in Kithakor Forest.
Right. Yeah, because they drop. But they're really hard. I mean, they're not easy, right? But I guess they're, are they
If you
easier
single
than the
pull them,
dragons, right?
if you single pull them, they're not that hard.
Wow. guess I didn't know about this. Let me look it up. Is it even on this list, or like we have to look it up somewhere else?
Probably have to Google it, which I'm doing
Yeah,
actually.
you do that. I was going to say, while you're Googling that, I'll give you kind of my top few. One is J Boots. I think really nice for like wizards or other caster types that don't have access to Spirit of Wolf. Um, it's something that's going to last you a really long time. I got the um, J Boots during the Fabled on Mangler, and I click them every now and then in my Warrior. I think those, and I
It's
see them going for pretty cheap now, just getting the ring because it's tradable.
because a lot of people only think it's for the run buff, but it's not.
It's
For
also for the
tanks,
instant click.
and the instant click is invaluable
Right.
for all those mobs that debuff all the way through, Velius.
Well, I mean, they do it all, in every expansion. I can't remember any in TSS, but I know in Depths of Dark Hollow and Prophecy Row, there were some that were dispelling. And yeah, my warrior has you have to at least have two if you're going to keep up with the debuffs. But yeah, that's a
Okay, so
really
I
awesome.
looked it up real quick. I
Okay.
don't not to interrupt, but
No, yeah.
yeah, the Robe of the Kedge and RBG, so 27% haste, but
Okay.
really good stats. Drops from the Kithakor Dark Elves.
Now you have those pulled up. Are they labeled as rare mobs? I don't think they are. I think they're just static mobs, right?
Yeah, monsters.
Okay.
Yep.
Because if they were rare mobs, then they would be thrown into a loot table with like, what level are they?
55.
Oh, they're higher than anything else.
You're gonna go there and you're gonna fight them for the Rogue Epic, anyways.
Okay.
But you get two groups together. It shouldn't be. I don't want to talk out my ass here, but it shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah, I have no,
Yeah,
I have no way of telling like if that's hard or not. You know me, I always underestimate abilities and like, oh, it says to bring two groups, we better bring three groups. I'm the cautious
yeah.
one. We balance each other out pretty well in that regard.
I'm like, let's just try because death is nothing here on Mangler or Thornblade or Mischief.
That's right.
These
Yeah.
TLPs.
I guess I have it ingrained in
Oh
my mind
no, I have.
still, like in me, that death is the worst thing that can happen.
Right. No, I remember feeling it like that. But here on these TLPs, it's like, oh no, I have to camp for an extra 10 minutes. Oh no,
Yeah, you just got to
get
run
that
back.
experience right back. Right.
Yeah. So really, just the running back is the problem, even if
It's
it is
you,
a
you
roam.
you've inconvenienced me for the next 10 minutes. Sorry.
Yeah. And they also have soul binders all around. Not all around, but in more places than were on, when Classic was originally launched. You just had to bind at cities if you were melee, and that's all the option you had.
Other items that are really important
Hmm.
uh, for Classic only. Classic on Thornblade and Mischief is only 1 month.
Yeah,
So
it's going to be
not all
gone so
that
fast.
important. But the Yaks, the SSOYs,
Yep,
short
that's nice
swords
for
of
aggro.
Kesha. Yeah. Well, if you're a tank, that's the only way to, kind of hold aggro. Those are one of the only weapons that are valuable and reasonable to get at such a young level.
Yeah,
So you'll
75
see all the
damage is
tanks
pretty
for,
nice too.
and I should mention on the TLPs, the OGs, right?
Right.
They
We were
are
just looking
in.
at those a couple days ago. You can buy the
Mm-hmm.
melee augments with the TLPs. They're a little overpriced for classic. Getting platinum in classic isn't very easy to do. But they were, I think, what, 60, 50, 60 plat?
Yeah, 50, 60 plat, depending on the level,
Yeah.
um, and maybe a little higher. But for those of you that don't know, there are OGs, augments that you can get in Classic. You put them into your weapons, and they'll have like a heal over time, an instant heal, a DD, or a dot But for melee, the DD stun augs are invaluable for getting hate as well. So
I will say, if you're a DPS player, not a tank, please do your tank a favor and not put in the DD stun aug. Even though it might be more DPS overall, if you want to survive places like the hole where the mobs hit really hard, you're going to want to have the dot one.
yes, yes.
Yeah, don't
So
make that
just to
person cry.
throw that in there, go get your SSOYs if you're a warrior or tank type, and definitely put your hate augs in.
Well, I think if you're a tank in a raiding guild, I think the guild will kind of help out and contribute. And if you don't have the platinum to buy those, if you're the raid tank, I think a good guild would help you out with that and get those for you. Don't you think?
A good guild would.
Yeah, because I mean a good guild will have wizards and druids porting, getting money, which we need to do soon. Get those levels, get those ports. But the money's going to be coming in as a guild, and a good guild kind of helps each other out in that aspect. Not like handouts, but it's something that's going to benefit the whole guild. If your warrior can hold aggro, that's a benefit for the whole guild.
Yeah, same thing with like resist gear. You'll have one of your jewelers make the resist rings, resist bracers, earrings, and all that stuff is invaluable for the raids that require high resists.
Right.
Um, Usually those are funded by your guild as well, or they just tell you to go ahead and go get it, and then we'll pay you back or whatever. But
Yeah, and
um, your
don't
guild jeweler should be making it for you guys.
totally make it at cost. At the minimum, make it at cost for you, so they could just do the combine and do the enchantment if they're an enchanter, and then make it for you and then hand it over. But don't abuse stuff like that. I think there's a lot of trust that goes into being in a guild, and if you want to leave the guild, do the right thing, and give those items back so they can hand it out to the next person that joins the guild. Don't don't be someone that gets like all these items from a guild and then just leaves. That's because it's a tight community, and guilds do talk with each other, and I think they do. Does that happen behind the scenes?
I played the fifth.
Okay. But yeah, it's just a decent thing to do. If his guild's going to help you out and give you items, just do the right thing if you're going to move on and give it back. Anyway,
Um,
it's a little off
I haven't
topic.
seen people give stuff back, but
No, but I'm throwing it out there. I'm the kind of guy that would do something like that.
good karma for sure.
Good karma for sure.
If you can't get the Nagafin drum, I know they have the Mistmore battle drums out
Yes.
in Mistmore. I think those are beneficial, at least until you get that. And then also, I think that same mob drops the loot of the Gypsy Princess.
Yeah. So bards, like nowadays on Mangler, bards don't have instruments. They have it through I guess their 2.0 plays everything, but and I don't, we're gonna have to get a bard on here to like really educate us a little bit. But
It is literally the one class that I am not good at.
I'm
Like
aware
I've
of,
never,
but I'm always just like, wow, bards are great. They can do all these things, but I don't know exactly how they do all those things.
and we are lucky. We have some great bards in our guild
We do.
on Mangler. I am completely clueless. Everything that I have for bards in my head are from 20 years ago. So
Yeah. I know this guy's not playing anymore or whatever. Maybe he is. I don't know. But I had a bard named Konox in my guild back on Povar, and the things he could do, he's like the guys we have now in PALs, which hopefully we'll be able to have one or two of them on at some point. But just to, he could hold the group together, single pulls, and if he got two, he'd mez one. Sometimes he'd charm something up the DPS, and just having a good bard really changes the dynamics of the group.
I just feel like all our bards have like 3 spell bars, and I'm like, where? How are you playing mana song, HP regen, resist song, and then also mezzing, charming, dropping aggro. It's just like,
Right.
ugh,
Tanking.
bards,
Because I mean, they're a plate
bards,
class. They do have some AC. We saw that the other
bards.
day. I guess maybe Bard would be one of the first ones we get to kind of talk about their class, so we can unravel the mystery of the Bard.
The most interesting class. It's like the Dos Equis guy, the most interesting man in the world.
Yeah, I mean
But
they would say like Bard is the jack of all trades, master of none, but I think they've mastered pulling, and I think they've mastered CC, and just those kind of things. And now on TSS, they're mastering DPS too.
for sure. Speaking of Mistmore, I wanted to mention too the HBC Hooded Black Cloak.
Hooded Black Cloak.
Yeah, you
I
know
don't know.
about that.
No, I don't know about that one.
In Classic, the Hooded Black Cloak is 10 AC, 5 strength, 45 hit points. There's not a lot of backslot items for melee
Right.
classes, so the
Yeah, 45 hit
HBC
points
was
is really nice.
very nice.
Very, very nice. Yeah, I'm because Mangler were winning items that have almost 500 hit points and 100 AC. So to do the math in my head, like this is a good item. Sometimes it's hard to do. Try to remember like what else is out there and what to value and what not to value.
What other items do you think are invaluable for Classic?
Hmm. What I'm trying to think of like when I say an item is invaluable is I think we talked about before something that's going to carry over into the next expansion or even further into Velius. And Cloak of Flames is nice because it's Warren Haste is always great. Like if you ever get
Hmm.
your hands on one of those. Um,
I
oh,
tried to remember that not everybody is a raider,
right.
and it's I want to
But on
yeah,
Mischief and
Cloak of
Thornblight, do you
Flames
have
is
to be a
nice.
Mangler? I mean, do you have to be a Raider? Because it's all
No,
tradable
but
now.
you would have to have some sort of income though, right? And you're
Well, I mean,
getting
some people is
income.
going to want to pay $20 or $30 just to get a Cloak of Flames.
Don't be that person. Don't be that person.
Well, I'm not going to be that person, but there are people out there that want to do that.
Right.
So, if they're going to do something like that, I'd rather them spend their chrono on something that's going to, be worthwhile and be a good investment. I was thinking for Wizards, there's that Staff of Temporal Flux, and now it's tradable. And do you remember that one?
I don't.
So it's an instant clicky for Wizards it doesn't do any damage, but it draws aggro. And so for Wizards that want to quad kite, it's perfect because you can click it on the run with your J Boots or Spirit of Wolf, and then get your pack of 4 and then burn them down like that. It's pretty sure it's Staff of Temporal Flux. I saw it.
Hmm.
I was playing my Wizard the other day. I guess it was like a week ago at this point, but I remember the Staff of Temperate Flux. That's what it's called, and it's a must-have for Wizards. Not that there are many Wizards on the server, compared to like monks or clerics or enchanters, but it's something that Wizards need.
Just to stick with the casting classes, the incasters, the SMR, the Shining Metallic Robes.
That's a nice one.
Oh yeah, spell haste 2 on it once focus effects come into play. 9 int.
Ooh. I know magicians, you're going to want to get your pet focus done. I realize once you get your epic 1.0 in Kunark, that's going to kind of go away because you get the super pet when you get your epic. It's one of the better epics in the game. But
I'm sure people are screaming at us right now, like you need to get the Peggy cloak or whatever.
yeah, well, the
there's
Pegasus
there's
Cloak
just
is
a
nice, but
well, there's just so many items.
right,
I'm looking at this list. There's 196 times 3 usually times 2 just in classic. So yeah, no, there's just so many items and like what is valuable versus what is usable for the time being.
right.
Yeah, Pegasus cloak though is one of them. Quillmane
What
Uh,
was the Circle of the Shadows? That was called for Shadow Knights
is
and
it?
Necromancers.
That's the invis, right?
Yeah, I don't remember if it's the point one cast or the instant cast, or it's like point three. I know there's two versions of it, and I never remember if the if the instant cast version is live for a little while and then goes away, kind of like the guise of the Deceiver versus the guise of the Coercer. But no, I'm sorry, guise of the Deceiver versus Mask of Deception. But I remember that one's a really nice one for both Shadow Knights and Necromancers.
And you said that's the which circlet is it? Because I
The
know there's
Circle of
two
the
of them.
Shadows.
Is that out now in Classic?
Is it? Looking up. Looking up. Circlet of Shadow.
Because I know there's the dark circlet.
Is this
Oh,
Kunark?
see, yes, circlet of shadow is Kunark. You're a little bit
Yeah, took a
advanced
look at
there.
Droga. Well, next time. Yeah. I always thought that
Hey,
was a
well, at
classic
least
item.
no, they have the rune circlet. I think that's the big one that people like, or
That's
maybe
a
the
nice
dark
one.
circlet. Dark circlet is the necro one.
Yeah, my production value is shining through right now. The amount of
Do your
research I did for
research.
this. Yeah. Hey, I was missing one. I had the others. Uh,
No,
but
it's good that you and I can talk about this because you know how many you're not the only person that's like, is that from Valius or Kunark or and that's why we're doing this. We're trying to figure out what's good and what's not so good.
yeah, we didn't go through any of the Plane of Sky stuff.
Yeah. I want to actually do that before we get off here.
Sure, we can do that for about, we'll try to keep it not too long, but I'm sure some people were like, keep going, keep talking.
Yeah,
But
so
go ahead.
I want to say there's a couple different raids in Classic. You have Finney in Kedgekeep,
Right.
um, which we saw was done on day one or day two
Yeah,
by
it's kind of
Zaygun, right?
cheesed, but it was done. I'll put
It,
a little asterisk beside it.
Finney is really easy
Yes.
because you can mez him, you can deplete his mana, and then he doesn't cast on you, and then he's a tank and spink after that. So Finney is probably the easiest of the bosses, I would say, and that
Sure.
was
Yes.
bosses in quotes.
And also he spawns
Um,
rather quick too, or has a short
Average
walkout.
12 hours? Question mark.
I thought it was
I
six
think 12 hours.
hours.
Maybe it's that fast. And I know they increased his respawn time because of all the um stuff, the epic drops that he has.
Right.
So you need like Kedge Backbone and Aerobic Edge and Staff of Elemental, Mastery Water, right? So
Yeah. He's
all
level
that stuff that's
53, so he'll drop everything in Plane of Fear and from both dragons.
right.
Wow.
Um Speaking of both dragons, the next two I would say would be Nagafin and Vox in the Solby and Permafrost.
Yep.
Um, I know Nagafin's a little bit difficult. I would say Nagafin more difficult than Lady Vox. I'm not sure why I would say that because I know Lady Vox does the fear,
Right. But I think
but
Nagafin does the AE fire, which is hard to resist at these levels.
and I don't know what's cheesable anymore and what's not. I know like you used to be able to stand behind a pole and spam J boots and charm like giants and stuff, or not giants, the imps maybe to
Right.
attack Nagy. And then in Vox, I know you would stand like corner tanker on a wall there, and um, you would have like everybody charm polar bears
Yeah.
and spiders and stuff. So I don't know. I think the fear is the hardest part, but Nagafin and Vox pretty much pushovers, doable in classic, no problem.
Right.
Mitigation of the mighty is one thing that's on these TLP servers, which make them infinitely more difficult than what they would be if they were still the classic stats. But
Well, I
um,
remember in live or on Povar, before mitigation, I mean, before mitigation of mighty was a thing, there was a level cap for Nagafin. and if you were above level 52, I believe, and Nag of him was engaged, it would banish you from the room.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I remember, didn't you like work around that one time?
Me personally,
I thought you did. I guess not.
I know that like I tried to backdoor my way into Vox's lair once
Right.
on Pokken, levy up through the hole and stuff
Hmm.
right above where she is. But as soon as you get close enough, she's like, "You don't belong here," and we'll kick you out.
Yeah. I think
So
it's a
I
fun
kind of
mechanic because, why didn't she just do that to everyone? But I understand like why they did it. But lore wise, like, hey, if she's getting killed, why not just banish everybody? But
right,
yeah,
yeah, get out of here.
yeah. So those are fun.
Uh,
Nice dragons.
yep. So dragons and Finny. Then you have
Wait.
hate,
Oh, okay. Yeah, hate. I think
fear,
fear
and
is kind
sky.
of next before hate. I think hate's harder than fear. Um,
Oh,
really? Oh, I think hate's harder.
fear. You remember
Well,
fear,
yeah,
man?
zoning into fear, like you're gonna get the entire zone. I remember doing fear runs and stuff.
Yeah, just corpse runs all over the place.
Yeah.
Um, so Plane of Hate, the main boss in Plane of Hate is obviously Inarok, but in Plane of Hate you also have like the Lord of Ire, who drops the Shield of Immaculate, which I would also say is maybe a must-have from Classic.
Yeah, that's still nice, even, you know,
It's
in
it's the
TS9.
shield,
Yeah.
and it has the automatic or the instant cast disease cure, so
Hmm.
that's really nice. But there's also like the Lord of Loathing, the um, Dracolit. No, that's in Fear. Master of Rancer.
How come
What else do they have?
the Maestro of Rancor isn't on here? Isn't
He's
on
on
this
there.
list? Is
It's
he?
below Finley.
Oh, he's lower level. I always remember him being pretty hard.
Old school Maestro was pretty hard. I
Okay,
think the newer one is not that difficult.
gotcha.
But yeah, High Priest and Master of Spite and all those Playing I Hate mini mobs. Awesome loot. And plus, while you're in hate killing the trash mobs, you get all the class gear. So
Yeah,
that's
hate and fear. Kind of, they dropped that class gear, which is part of why I went Paladin because I figured that stuff's gonna be easy to get.
Interrock is pretty hard. I know Interrock he G fluxes, and we had a hard time grouping them even in Kunark, but uh, all the other minis are pretty doable in Classic. They're all level 56 or 55, so
Yeah, I remember like in Fear, everything, not everything, there's one golem that doesn't, but everything death touches. And when we get to Sky, like everything death touches. And that was the thing I hated so much about Radiant and Classic, and even into Kunark, the death touches. I felt like
well,
that was such a just like um, it was like a mechanic that didn't have a lot of thought put into it. It's like, well, we don't want to make it too tough, but we want to just you know increase the challenge encounter just by throwing in these death touches.
I'll get the Plane of Sky in a second. I
Yeah,
have the worst memories from Plane of Sky
yeah,
for multiple reasons.
right.
Plane of Fear, Dracolich, Dread, Fright, Terror, and CT.
Yep.
Um, CT is he hits hard. I think he rages, but he once you get to slow in, I think CT is pretty easy. Dread, oh, somebody's gonna have to correct me on this. I want to say Dread and Terror are the ones that DT, and then Fright doesn't. Maybe I might be backwards, but
Yeah,
only
I
two
just
of
remember
them.
one doesn't death touch and the other two do. And Kazakh
Maybe it's
death
Terror.
touches.
Terror doesn't death touch. I think maybe that's right. But either way, they'll drop the amulet of Necropotence, the skeleton illusion instant cast, which is also really nice for warriors. So you have J boots and the amulet, and you have your two spells there for top slot debuffs.
Right. Remember, all this stuff can drop that.
Well, now, yes,
Yeah,
everything that we're talking about now can drop everything that
pretty much.
Everybody drops. Yeah, basically.
But I
Oh,
remember
and before
in
I
let me do
go
Plan
ahead.
of Fear real quick. So I remember in Plan of Fear, if it is true, if you didn't clear everything when you engaged Khazak-Thul, everything would aggro upon you, right?
Yeah, you got what we like to call the death ball.
Yeah. So you have to either you pull everything or you pull enough to where you feel okay with it. But did you normally clear everything back on Mangler?
Yeah, we would clear everything.
How long would that take? How long did a fear raid take?
We would do fear for like the night, I think.
Okay, so like a
Um,
4 hours.
yeah, but we were, you know, we weren't trying to speed run through all these mobs and stuff. We were just using our DZ, our little AOC for the week. So we would go there
Right.
and spend the night. You can clear a lot of the mobs by having enchanters stun and then doing AoE.
Okay.
And so you'll have all the bards come and grab all the mobs and then bring them in. And then we would move to like another area and bring more mobs. Um, there's mobs there that debuff though. There's mobs
Hmm.
there that fear. You got to be really careful on who you're fighting and who you're bringing in. So it can get messy really fast if you're not paying attention.
Right. Yeah, I forgot, fear, the added part of the difficulty is the trash mobs in fear versus the trash mobs in hate. Not that the ones in hate are easy by any means, but I think in comparison, the trash mobs in fear are more difficult.
Yes, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that.
Okay. Yeah, that part when I said, "Oh, hate's harder," that part got lost on me. Right.
Before I get this guy too, special shout out to Master Yale in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of people that death touch,
He death
Master
touches.
Yale, yeah,
Ooh, I didn't know that. I don't think I've
sweet.
ever. Yeah, I think I killed him for. Is he part of an epic at some point?
No, because I think once they increase, he might be for an epic, but I think once they increase the hole,
Uh-huh.
he doesn't pop anymore, and then you get the what else spawns
Keeper of the
down there?
Seal or something like that, or
Master
Master of
of
the
the
Seal.
Sealers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Master of the
maybe
Seal.
that's it.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember
But yeah,
killing either Master Yale or Master of the Seal at some point, and this is back on Povar. Remember it was for somebody's epic or something. But
he uh he drops Earthshaker though, which is pretty nice.
yep, I think Yarnax has that as a gift from Flexen.
Old school flexing, right?
Old school Flexen, yeah. Old school warrior
Um
Flexen.
and so playing this guy, everybody's favorite. Um
Yeah.
Clearly being sarcastic because I think Sky is everybody's least favorite. None of the mobs really drop anything. There's like one or two class specific items there, and then everything else is quested. And I feel like no matter how much effort you put into getting all the quested items, you're always missing that one piece.
And how hard is it going to be now on Mischief and Thornblade to because before you'd be like, well, I need that one item. It drops off this one mob, so I'm gonna like camp that one mob. Now you can't camp, but as a raid, you're gonna focus on that. You're gonna wait for it. But I guess on the flip side, it's now tradable, and it's now drops off of many things. So maybe you have a better shot at finishing these quests.
I think the problem's going to be is they're going to just get looted up by the raid loot of the master looter for your raid, and then you're going to be like, hey, I need that piece. You're either going to never find that guy on, or that guy's going to get sick and tired and he's going to quit before Kunark launches.
Uh-huh.
And then you're going to be like, hey, I know we looted all that stuff. Somebody needs to get that stuff off that person because I, it's just going to be trying to find the person that has your item that you need. I think it's going to be easier to get your quest stuff for Sky, but man, I can just see so many issues.
Yeah, I could think playing a Sky for a caster um, is a nightmare, right? Because I'm looking at the levels. Like if you're level 50, they start at level 60. And Eye of Bishan is all the way up to level 70. So good luck trying to land a spell on these things, right?
Yeah, Sky is difficult because you still don't have mass group buffs. You don't have group buffs at all. Everything's
Mhm.
single target. Then you have everybody that's death touching.
Yep.
Um, Epics aren't in yet, so your cleric doesn't have free reses.
Yeah, so you're taking that Paladin res to 0%, and you're gonna like it.
Yes, you do get plenty of those, and then you'll see like the Rangers, the Paladins, the Shadow Knights. They don't really want to take the DTs. It's like say you're because you can farm the Spyrock Lord, right? But the Spyrock Lord
Yeah,
DTs, so
right.
somebody's losing experience.
Yep.
And after a little while of farming the Spyrock Lord, you're gonna get like some pissed off Pallies and some pissed off Shadow Knights and some pissed off Rangers that don't want to take the DTs anymore. So I can remember being on Mangler with pals and racing.
Who was taking those DTs? Do you remember?
The Warriors, believe it or not, were taking DTs. We had
Oh,
so many Warriors,
okay.
so we turned it into a game. Who was gonna get it? Like, don't let Flexen get it. Flexen the Warrior because we need to keep him up. But none of the Rangers really wanted to hit their taunt button,
Right.
and so it was just like I'm gonna get it. I don't care. I'll die. I'll eat the death. But um, I think if I remember right, the worst one that we had was Master Yale, and we just didn't have enough people to really like properly do the event.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Mafaka had lost like 2 levels
Oh
each.
no.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, it's fun. That's what the game's about. It's a story that I have now that we can like talk about and remember and have fun with. So
But like, so these zones are also going to be coming up again, like these raid zones for everyone's epic when Kunark launches. Like you're going to have to go to Plane of Sky. Specifically, one of the worst ones is for the mage, right? You got to go all the way to the Eye of Vishan and get an item off of that. Is that correct?
it's aisle 6, aisle 7, one of them. Yep,
Okay,
you
maybe
have
it's
to go all
way
the
up
way up
there.
there.
Um, so
You have to get the crown of elemental mastery, but you
yes,
don't have to do that now on Thornblade,
yeah, I guess somebody could do it for you and they can just give it to you, right?
or it'll drop off as something else. But I don't even know how epic loot's gonna work on Thornblade.
Yeah, I'm going to be really interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see that um, how that's going to be sorted out. So, oh, something I wanted to mention about Planet Sky. You talked about these questable items. Let's give people an idea of like how good this stuff is. I think did you get this on your warrior? You said there was like a weapon, or did you want it on your warrior?
Oh, I got it.
You got it.
I
So
got
just
it.
describe that a little bit because I think the way you described it to me, it seemed out of place for a classic item.
It's the 100 AC sword. It's the 100 AC sword
100
for.
AC sword.
Mhm.
Is it good at like holding aggro? Does it have a proc or something?
No,
Oh,
but you put one of the Augs on there.
yeah,
Now it's
it's
good at holding
awesome.
aggro.
And it has a decent like delay like ratio, or is it horrible?
Yeah, it's decent. I'm actually gonna bring it up because I want to tell you all the stats right.
Yeah, I'm curious about it because as a warrior talking to a warrior, it is that's one of the things that we do kind of know, but I didn't know about this item because on Pobar my warrior was not anywhere close to getting something like this.
I beat Nico to getting it. So let's see.
Because yeah, 100 AC even on TSS for a sword is unheard of. Like our epic 2.0 has 70 AC.
Oh, maybe I was wrong.
Okay, maybe you
It's
were
a
wrong.
hundred. It's 100 HP, but it's 20 AC.
There
It's
you go.
the
That's still
Dagus.
great. That's still
Yeah,
great. Like it's yeah. 100 hit points because your Epic 1.0 only has 50 hit points. So for me, having this in your primary, secondary doesn't matter, I guess, too much, maybe your secondary, and having the Epic 1.0, the one that increases your hate, that would be a great combination. It's probably what you were running on Mangler,
Yeah,
right?
I was using 1.0 blade tactics in my primary, and then Dagus in my offhand. 28. It was like 20 AC. You couldn't give it up, and
Yeah,
then
that's
you're getting AC. You're getting hit points from the AC, and you're getting 100 hit points on it.
right. I think the only time you can give it up would be in Velius if you got a Blade of Carnage.
Yeah.
Because that's 100
Um,
AC. I think that's 20. I mean, 100 hit points and 20 AC and a Raging Blow, which is
mhm.
where Warriors really start to shine. But that's later. We'll talk about that in the Warrior podcast or in the
But
Velius
that's like
podcast.
for if you think about the Dagus, which is the item we're talking about,
Hmm.
that's 2 expansions away from the BOC for very similar stats.
Right. So it kind of shows you how great some of these Plane of Sky items can be. So definitely, look into it. Especially if your guild is rating those and kind of do your own research like I do and like Pokin does and find out what you need. You should know these things. That way, when loot's going out, you can be like, that's the item I need because especially with Mischief Thornblade, there's going to be a lot of loot going out, and you want to know exactly what you need.
Yeah, and if you're thinking about doing these Plane of Sky tests, if your guild's going into Plane of Sky, I would just even pen and paper or make your own little Excel
Yeah, I like to
spreadsheet
make a
or
little
whatever you need
notepad or
to do.
something. These are the items I need, and have like a little checklist.
Yeah, because there's you know these items that you might need it for one item, but somebody else might need it for another, and you might have to fight somebody for these tablets or totems or
Right.
whatever. But usually, it's easy to just lose focus 3 hours into your playing a sky raid and getting death touched 100 times, and then you're like, oh, I forgot that I need that. So
Exactly. Well, is there anything else we wanted to touch on before we end today's episode?
no, I was having fun and befallen with you last night, and our little dervish camp,
That's right.
and
We both have two dervish cutthroat rings each.
yes, we do now. And I just wanted to mention, maybe we're talking about research, but um, maybe we should research the mobs that fear in Befallen.
Yeah, we had a little bad experience there. There was the necromancers. We killed them a few times before, never had this issue. Then all of a
I
sudden,
think,
I look up in Flexen, just running away with a link dead tag over his head.
yeah, I said we're dead.
Yeah, and then so I think it
um,
was maybe 5 seconds after that, Pally got feared, and
I I do think it was a different. I think there's the Necro, and then there's like the Necro lights.
okay,
I don't know. One of them is different, and one of them really just ruined our night. So
yeah. But up until then, we had a great time in there. Was doing pretty good. We had a couple of close calls, but that's fun. If it's there's two different versions of the camp. There's like where we had the dervishes outside in common lens, which was decent experience, good loot, very steady, very one at a time kind of pulls. One of those things where you don't have to be on your toes. Versus in Befallen on the second level, we had spawn. We're sitting in a spot where spawns are going to happen. We kind of have an idea of how long those spawns are going to take, and then also Flexen's out running around collecting 2 to 4 mobs at a time and having to keep them off the healers and all that kind of
I
stuff.
don't have feigned death yet. Leave me
Doesn't have feign
alone.
death yet. No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's you can agree it's just a different style of playing, and I enjoy both. But sometimes I enjoy one at one point, and sometimes the other another time.
I live in chaos though, so
Yeah, this one was getting kind of late in the night. I think it was past 11 or right at 11. And it was a good time to end it. I think we were getting close to calling it a night anyway. But
mhm.
then we had I think did both of you die or just Flexen?
No, both of me
Yeah,
ate
both of mine
ate
lived.
dirt.
because I
Okay, just
know,
rub it in now.
yeah, Druish gated because why? Because I had gate memmed on my spell bar because that's my style of play. And then
I
Pally
uh
somehow made it out there
I
even though I took a wrong turn.
I got re-feared. So once I got done being feared, I got re-feared.
Right.
And
Okay.
so while I was running away, I was like, "Oh, I should probably gate out on Sloan." But Slo- Sloan didn't have gate on his bar because
Did you
he
have an
just
empty
throws
spell
up.
slot? Or your slots all full?
They're all full. So I
All right.
I
Well, you
I
have
actually
that.
got it. I got it memmed, but something was beating on me. Well, after Druish left, so
Yeah, Druish, she pieced out immediately.
and then once I became unfeared for the second time, I ran and I was trying to get back to the zone line, but I think you must have zoned or got too far away from the mobs because as I turned a corner, there was like 5 or 6 skeletons on my face. So
Oh, yeah, that did it. But also, I was thinking about this as I was running up. There's a locked door in between where we were camping and the zone out.
I wasn't getting through the locked
You
door.
weren't getting to the locked door. You have to, because like I was like, which bag is it in? I'm like clicking as I'm running, and that's why I went like took a wrong turn. But that's part of like dying down there. I think those keys used to be no rent, used to be temporary, which
Ew.
is yeah, ew. Um, I don't know how. I think maybe like one key, if it works in one spot, works in the other. But it was a major pain in the ass. But yeah, we're definitely gonna go back. I think that was a lot of fun. We were getting a great experience, and
I wanna go deeper.
well, we got to get the levels first.
I wanna go deeper.
We'll get deeper. We got to get the levels and
I told you I want to stay until we kill the
the
Thaumaturgus or
Margaretouses.
whatever his name
We can
is.
do that. Yeah, we've only killed as far as a rare mob. We've only killed Rahotep one time, and didn't we get like the what did we get? Didn't we get some
We
kind
killed
of
him twice.
or twice? I just remember
Yeah,
doing it once. And we didn't get the this his scepter.
right. Well, maybe we need to go back and get that.
Yeah, but that
So I
that camp is like perma camped. We can try to get a pick. Did you get the Minotaur ribcage?
no.
Oh, that's somebody else. Okay.
What?
Yeah,
Where are you getting all this gear from? Share
that
it
was
with
on the
me.
wizard. That was on the wizard. That's what dropped from on the wizard. But obviously I didn't get it on the wizard.
All right. Well, I think this was a great podcast. I think we actually were maybe informative today.
Maybe. Um, I made my one mistake of calling something out of era, but hey, one mistake. That's not bad.
Yeah. Well, no mistakes next time. I demand excellence.
You're not going to get it. Let's go ahead and throw out our email. It's everpalsthornblade@gmail.com. And then we're on what, Facebook, Instagram. Do we have Twitter
Facebook,
yet?
Instagram. No, I don't know. Twitter's for the shills, I think.
I don't know. I don't use any of them. I use Facebook, but barely. And then we also have our Discord, which is in the description of the podcast. You can use that invite link, join us Discord, and talk right to us. Please comment, give us a rating, get 5 stars. I see a lot of people listening on Apple Podcasts. We're on just about every podcast platform out there, but if you don't see us on the one you want, please let us know and I can make that happen. But for now, I think that's a goodbye.
Play the outro music.
Playing the outro music.